Have you ever been so broke that a frozen pizza felt like a luxury? That was me, hungry, exhausted, just trying to enjoy one small comfort after another long day. But when I walked back into that kitchen, what I found inside the oven wasn't dinner anymore. It was betrayal, smothered in burnt cheese and disrespect. So yeah, I made sure karma was served extra crispy that night. If you've ever had someone ruin your hard-earned meal, or just treat you like your things don't matter, hit that like button, because this story is about revenge, respect, and one perfectly timed smoke alarm. Let's get into it. Years ago, I was in the middle of a life reset. I'd quit a dead-end job to go back to school, chasing a career pivot that felt like my one shot at a better future. Money was tight. Like, counting quarters for laundry tight. So I found this shared student apartment, a dimly lit basement beneath an old, creaky building that smelled like old carpet and microwave popcorn. There were 5 of us living down there, each with our own locked room and a single narrow hallway that led to a shared kitchen and 2 bathrooms. It wasn't glamorous. The walls were thin, the fridge was always too full, and the air always had that weird mix of burnt toast and cheap body spray. But it was affordable. And when you're trying to survive college debt-free, affordable is a blessing. No one really talked to each other. We were all just ghosts passing through the same space, sharing bills through e-transfers and awkward sticky notes on the fridge. The only time anyone interacted was when someone forgot to buy dish soap or paid the internet bill late. That night, I came home from a double shift, mentally fried, physically drained. I just wanted something simple. Something comforting. And that's when I remembered it, the frozen pizza in my mini freezer. It wasn't much, store brand, pepperoni, the kind that costs $5, but to me, it was a treat. Something that said, you made it through another brutal day. Here's your tiny reward. I popped it in the oven. Set the temperature to 375 degrees Fahrenheit, just like the box said. 25 minutes, that was all that stood between me and a small slice of happiness. The oven was old and loud. It had this distinct metallic creak every time you opened it, like a door to a haunted house. I set a timer on my phone and went back to my room to relax. The walls were so thin that I could hear my neighbor's muffled music. Some cheap EDM remix rattled faintly through the vents. Halfway through the cook time, I heard that creak. The oven door opening. At first, I didn't think much of it. Maybe someone just needed to heat something up. But then I heard another sound, the clunk of a baking tray being set down, and a door down the hallway shutting. Weird. I frowned but stayed put. It was a shared kitchen after all. But something about the timing felt off. When the timer beeped, I walked back out. The fluorescent light flickered overhead, the kind that buzzes just enough to make your skin crawl. I opened the oven, and my heart sank. My pizza, my one, cheap, comforting meal, was burnt to hell. The cheese was blackened at the edges. The crust looked like charcoal. And there, sitting smugly on the top rack, was a giant tray of chicken breasts. I crouched down, confused. The temperature dial, it wasn't at 375 anymore. It was cranked up to 425 degrees Fahrenheit. Someone had changed the temperature, while my food was still cooking. I stood there in silence for a few seconds. Then the realization hit like a gut punch. One of my roommates had decided that their dinner was more important than mine. That my pizza, the only real meal I could afford that week, was just collateral damage. I clenched my jaw so tight it hurt. You know that feeling when you're so angry your whole body goes hot? That was me. I scraped the burnt pizza off the rack and forced myself to eat it anyway, each bite bitter, rubbery, and humiliating. And as I sat there under that buzzing kitchen light, chewing what tasted like cardboard soaked in rage, I had one thought. You messed with the wrong broke student tonight. I tried to calm down. I really did. I told myself, it's not worth it. It's just food. But the more I thought about it, the angrier I got. This wasn't just about burnt pizza. It was about respect, or the lack of it. It was about how easy it was for someone to mess with another person's small joy, without a second thought. So I stood up, walked back to the kitchen, and looked at that smug tray of chicken, neatly seasoned, laid out perfectly like some kind of gourmet masterpiece. It was cooking slowly, the fat starting to sizzle, that smell of roasted garlic filling the air. And that's when I saw it, the oven dial. still warm beneath my hand. Something inside me clicked. If he wanted the oven hotter, I'd give him hotter. I grabbed the dial and cranked it all the way up. 500 degrees Fahrenheit. The oven roared louder, the metal ticking as it heated faster than it should. I stood there for a moment, heart pounding, listening to the quiet hum of vengeance. Then I went back to my room, closed the door, and waited. At first, it was silent. Then, about 15 minutes later, I heard it. The faint hiss of smoke. A small beep. Then a louder beep beep beep. The smoke alarm. Followed by frantic footsteps, a loud curse, and the sound of the oven door slamming open. I opened my door just enough to see him, the roommate, waving a towel in the smoky kitchen, coughing and swearing. His tray of chicken, completely charred, blackened, dead. The edges curled up like burnt paper. He was trying to scrape it off the pan, muttering under his breath. I stepped fully into the hallway, calm, almost serene, and said, "Everything all good, bud?" He froze mid-motion. Didn't even look at me for a second. Then stammered, Yeah, fine. Just messed up the timing." I nodded slowly. "Yeah, happens to the best of us." Then turned around and went back into my room, finishing my sad, burnt pizza in peace. And I swear, that last slice tasted better than it had any right to. After that night, things got quiet. He stopped using the kitchen at the same time as me. Stopped leaving his stuff around. No apology. No confrontation. Just pure, awkward silence. And honestly, that was the sweetest part of it. Because sometimes revenge doesn't need fireworks. Sometimes it's just the slow satisfaction of knowing someone learned their lesson. The hard, smoky, burnt chicken way. A few weeks later, I moved out. Got my own place. Better job, better life. But even now, years later, every time I hear an oven ding, I think back to that basement kitchen. To that one act of quiet revenge. And I smile. Because karma doesn't always come cold. Sometimes, it's served at 500 degrees. Here's the thing, it's never just about the food. It's about respect. People show who they are in the smallest moments, like whether they think your pizza matters as much as their chicken. So yeah, next time you feel tempted to mess with someone else's stuff, remember, ovens heat both ways. If this story made you smirk, smash that like button. Tell me in the comments, what's the pettiest but most satisfying revenge you've ever pulled? And of course, subscribe for more stories of poetic justice, sweet karma, and everyday heroes who get the last laugh. Until next time, stay kind, and don't touch someone else's dinner.